That's the last of them.
こっから来ないの戻らないといけない。
Not this again. Need to find a way out. There's got to be another way out of here.
ここか。電話は今回なしですか。
I might have to drop some gear.
どっからなってる？でも出れないぞ。え？
Gotta find my way past this mess.
もう
Shit, that burns.
あそこの地下っていうかダクトあれかもしかして
How's it looking out there?
I think I've seen the worst of it.
The pressure in the system seems to have dissipated, so that's one less thing to worry about.
Great news. How we're at with preparations coming?
She's in heaven. Haven't been able to get a word in edgewise since the power came back online. She's been running from system to system, and I am just trying to stay out of her way.
All right. Let's hope her plan works.
Tell that man to stop fooling around and get back here on the double.
I gotta go. If the big Aurora appears before we're ready...
I remember. Your life's work down the tube.
Exactly. Be careful out there, Mackenzie. And get back to us soon.
I'm on my way.
さっきのダクトトーレはもしかして回避できたのかな。あ、マリンフレア。マリンフレアもらっていこう。
I need to drop something.
やけど。よし。今度はどうやってこっからか。残り時間は1時間20分。
Sun's setting. It's gonna get a lot colder soon. The air tastes funny,
空気の味がおかしい。
like metal in my mouth. I'm gonna have to leave something behind.
大丈夫、怖すぎるでしょ。実際だったら俺絶対無理だわ。風で
Oh shit.
いや。結構あるぞまだ。 よし、もうちょい。何？鹿の死体？食い荒らされた。調べられない。なんだ熊とかじゃないよね。待って、そこにも死体ある。
What the hell was that?
なんだ？何の鳴き声？
Oh shit! Is that what I think it is?
俺が思っているものか。なにマッケンジー。
Cougar.
ピューマ？オートセーブ入りました。ピューマ。倒せるもんなのか。怖っ。うわ、早っ。倒せない。うわ、かなり早く撃たないとあれだ。でもいなくなったか。やばい、12分しかない。かまってるあれじゃなかった。これ間に合わないね。
Too heavy.
6分。
Now, gotta get back to Suzuki before it's too late.
間に合った？あ、ギリ間に合った。おお、危ねえ。
You did it, Mackenzie.
Yes, good work, young man.
It was no trouble. Now, do you have everything you need?
I think so.
I still have a job for you.
Right.
Please, accompany Jace up to...
I can handle that alone, Dr. Atwood. He's already done enough.
Accompany Jace to
With tonight's Aurora, we have a chance to pull the data now that the systems are nearly back online. But I'm not sure Jace can handle the next part alone.
I don't need any help.
We need to get the data from the buffers back into the mainframe and then to the scope's relays for processing. But for that to work, we need the benefit of the program.
The program?
Just a little something I put together during my graduate thesis.
It's a brilliant bit of coding, and without it, we'd be dead in the water.
Okay. So, what can I do?
The next parts are all about perfect timing, and we
Timing.
each have a part to play.
I'm sure I can handle the telescope.
Nonsense. This is too important to let pride get in the way.
Once more, for good luck.
Let's not make this a habit, okay?
Works for me.
You two had better get moving. We're running out of time.
何をしたね。ジェイスとチューナー室に行く。どこ行った？あ、こっちか。
Wonder if I can drop any of this gear.
What's that, Jason?
Could they have built a more confusing space?
What, Jason? 大丈夫?
This place is old, but it has good bones.
I'm not sure I can carry much more.
これオーロラの色？緑色。
Feels like the whole facility is slowly waking up. That aurora is a real mystery. It's almost like magic, really.
うわ、見えてきた。
Imagine the logistics involved in building this facility. Staggering. The people who built this had no idea how important it would be someday.
うわ。すごい。
Well, well, there she is, the Suzuki Radio Telescope. Isn't she beautiful? Lit up by the aurora, no less. I've never seen it so bright.
It's massive.
Let's hope we're not too late.
俺は何をしたらいい？
Okay, time to get this party started. There's a fair bit of interference. Keyboard is glitching a bit. Can't be helped, we're way past long shots at this point. Loading the program. Now.
Are you in place? I'm seeing some spikes on the sensors at the peak.
Shouldn't be long now.
What do you need me to do?
Okay, this is the tricky part. I'm gonna have to run the program and update the code in real time to modulate for the aberrant magnetic field and...
Jace.
So I'll be busy focusing on that. Meanwhile, once the telescope grabs the signal, we'll need to follow the source. The new data will help flush the buffers, and the data in the buffers will get pushed to Dr. Atwood's workstation for processing. It's an archaic system, but best I could do with 30-year-old technology.
I'm still not clear on what you need me to do.
何言われるか分からない。
You're a pilot, right?
Yep.
Know how to adjust your heading to follow a radar beacon?
Yeah, I have a pretty good idea.
Same principle. Grab the big metal wheels at the base of each leg of the telescope sensor assembly. You'll see a bunch of numbers around the edge. When my program outputs specific bearings, I'll shout them to you. And then you have to find a way to match those bearings as quickly as you can.
Sounds easy enough.
The timing has to be perfect.
Got it.
Like, exactly perfect.
I hear you loud and clear.
Did you say you got here after crashing your plane?
Don't start.
Get ready. I'm seeing some power spikes. Something big. It's happening.
Get ready, Mackenzie.
待って待って。ちょっとよく分かってないぞ、俺。どこでそれを。外に出てやれってことか。
What a mess.
Look for the wheel, Mackenzie.
でその焦らせる音楽やめてくれ。これかな。ワオさ、これか。今よ。140？ なんて言った今。140なんて言った？聞いてなかった今俺。145？ 待って、話聞いてなかった。141？ 待ってちょっと待って待って。
Something's gotta go.
あれいない。 あれ待って、これか、噂の進行不能バグ。嘘、ちょっと前からロード。
Well, well, there she is, the Suzuki radio telescope. Isn't she beautiful? Lit up by the aurora, no less. I've never seen it so bright.
It's massive.
Let's hope we're not too late.
よし。
Okay, there's a cat loading now. Are you? Shouldn't be.
What?
Okay, well then. So, me, the new. It's.
I'm. Yep.
No,
Yeah.
name. And then.
So,
The,
got it.
Like, did you.
Don't.
I'm something.
Get rid.
よし。
What a mess.
Look for the wheel, Mackenzie. Here we go.
141。よし。で、
Look for the console with the big wheel
大きな輪がついてる。
Mackenzie.
How am I supposed to find anything down here? There's gotta be a way through here.
What's taking so long down there?
Where's the damn wheel?
これか。
Dish is huge.
次は
That's it. We're getting close now. Keep going.
67。
Okay, 67 degrees.
Jace? Everything okay over there?
Don't worry. Keep going. Last bearing incoming.
さあ、こっちか。
You sweet, sweet program. Don't let me down.
これだ。
156, Mackenzie.
156。
Get to 156 before the whole thing blows.
うわ、大丈夫？
Mackenzie!
The program?
She did the most any program can hope to do. Her job. Now let's hope Dr. Atwood got what she needed. Because this gear is toast.
coming now. All the data just flooding out of the buffers. It worked. God damn it, it worked.
Thank goodness. I'd hate to have to restart my PhD.
You did brilliant work, my girl. Absolutely brilliant. We just need to keep the data flow, ensure it comes in a continuous flow, uninterrupted.
How long before the data is ready for analysis?
These are old systems, and it takes a while for them to crunch through the numbers. It'll be hours before we'll... Well, shit.
What the hell just happened?
It's not the power this time. Geothermal plant's still showing up green on the board.
Some kind of overload, or emergency shutdown.
What now?
Now we do this the old-fashioned way. We start combing through the numbers.
I'll get us some light. Do you see anything that would indicate the level of K-index we might expect to...
Shush, girl. Let me read.
Do you want me to grab a printout and
Could it be a G10?
Is there something I can do?
Aha! Here it is. Here it is.
There it is.
What do you see?
It can't be. That silly old British bastard was right. He just never knew how right he was. Why did it have to happen in our time?
British bastard? Please explain.
For you to fully understand would take more time than we have. I'd have to go back more than 150 years.
I like a good story.
I think we deserve some answers.
Very well. In 1865, a British scientist and naval officer was tasked with supporting the research of a scientific team, seeking to create a kind of communication that could travel over the air. The Admiralty felt that dependence on the telegraph was holding them back. This Navy man was inspired by stories he'd heard about the Carrington event 6 years prior. At the time, the largest geomagnetic event ever recorded. He had heard that the abundance of static electricity in the air had powered telegraph lines, even after the operators had unplugged them. Fires broke out due to this geomagnetically induced current. It got him thinking. This scientist's research led him all over the world, and he began to piece together a picture of the Earth's geomagnetic profile, and something about the operation of the sun and its effects on the Earth's magnetic field. Remember, this was 150 years ago, and well before they had the equipment to prove any of this. But a theory began to take shape in his mind that suggested the sun went through cycles of geomagnetic activity, waxing and waning, but sometimes spiking inexplicably in dramatic ways. The historical record held evidence of many of these events, but in pre-industrial times, the impacts were more subtle. Even in the mid-1800s, there wasn't enough power infrastructure to really feel the impact of these spikes, so it wasn't of grave concern. But the growing dependence on telegraphy suggested this shouldn't be ignored. And this scientist predicted that if the level of electrification continued to grow exponentially, as was predicted, this would create a serious vulnerability that could be exploited by their enemies at great cost to industry and society at large. He was given a secret commission from the Royal Geographical Society to prove his theories and to come up with a strategy that would ensure the British were in the strongest position to exploit any such geomagnetic disaster. After another decade of research, this scientist began to suspect that this geomagnetic current that existed all around them could impact many other things, and more deeply. He began to study migration patterns of animals, and gathered evidence of whale strandings, bird die-offs, and other unexplained mysteries relating to animals' innate abilities to navigate vast distances with great precision, without the benefit of modern tools or equipment. Eventually, he knew he had to travel north to the Arctic to really test his theories. And in December of 1865, he took a ship and a crew of Navy scientists and mariners in a specially commissioned research vessel, a modified bomb mortar ship, fashioned after the Terror and Erebus from the ill-fated Franklin expedition. His ship was named the HMS In Tenebris, and he took it and a crew far above the Arctic Circle, along with an array of unique recording equipments he had crafted himself, with the hope of collecting data to support his theories. This scientist and Navy man was Captain Edmund Wintermute.
The word in Mackenzie's secret message.
It was a person's name.
Wintermute's mission was to collect data near the Arctic Circle, and he and his crew were also tasked with the goal of resupplying a small Navy research outpost that had been set up as part of Wintermute's program the year before. Some of the crew on Wintermute's ship was designated as relief for the outpost's crew, and Wintermute was meant to bring the replaced men home to their families. A few days away from the Arctic Circle and 2 days from their destination, Wintermute recorded increasingly active aurora and other geomagnetic activity around the ship, including St. Elmo's Fire. But he also noticed something else. As evidenced by their journals, many of the crew were having trouble sleeping, with some experiencing full-blown insomnia that worsened as they traveled further north. Some were also beginning to forget things, their journal entries occasionally slipping into childlike language or outright gibberish. 2 days out from their destination, the night watch rang the ship's bell to announce a man had gone overboard. The man, an experienced mariner, had been observed to simply walk off the deck of the ship. By all rights, a calm and dependable sailor. This event shook the crew's morale. Wintermute did his best to keep them focused, but he was still inexperienced as a ship's captain, always more the scientist than sailor or Navy man, and he could tell the men were increasingly becoming anxious, even distrustful.
Walked off the ship and straight into the water.
Exactly, but things got even stranger after that. When they arrived at their destination, a small island surrounded by sea ice, they found the Navy observation camp that Wintermute had set up the year before completely abandoned. The shelters were mostly destroyed, the relentless Arctic winds having shredded their canvas. The sled dogs were killed, some seeming to have been eaten. Many of the men were found dead, their bodies frozen in their beds, some showing signs of having been attacked or murdered.
Yikes.
Keep in mind, the Franklin expedition was still fresh in the public imagination during this time, including all the rumors of cannibalism. Wintermute could tell some of his men were nearing their breaking point, so he sent them back to the ship and took only a small group of trusted officers with him to search the rest of the small island. On the far northern side, in an icy bay, they found the remainder of the outpost crew, their bodies frozen solid in the ice. Some appear to have walked in and simply frozen in place.
Jesus. And I thought we had it bad.
Not wanting to completely abandon his research, but also recognizing the fragility of his situation, Wintermute kept a small group of trusted and hardy men with him. He offloaded sufficient provisions and equipment for them to survive up to 6 months, and sent the crew and the In Tenebris back to London, with the request that they send a rescue ship to pick them up.
That's dedication. But what does it have to do with our data?
I'm getting there. Months later, the relief ship returned to find only Wintermute remained. He had left books of scrawled notes, data he had gathered using his novel devices, sketches and observances of the men he had kept with him, and a detailed diary outlining their slow but progressive decline into a kind of fugue and madness. Wintermute was accused of murdering the men, brought back in shackles, and once back in England, summarily court-martialed and committed to a sanatorium. His equipment, journals, and the data therein were hidden by the Admiralty, and the Royal Geographical Society renounced Wintermute's membership and denounced his research, claiming he had gone rogue. His work disappeared for over a century until I dug it up.
Why haven't we ever heard this story before?
Exactly the question you should be asking. I had encountered odd and inexplicable references to his research, but always leading to dead ends. I finally managed to get my hands, through no small feat of my own canny research and a dogged determination, I might add, on a few of his earlier papers. It wasn't easy, believe me. A woman, let alone a woman who isn't white, had to work 10 times harder to get access to this material, but I managed to do it. I spent the next 20 years piecing it together, tracing the fingerprints of Wintermute's theory, collecting his data, analyzing, and then adding to his research with research of my own using increasingly modern equipment. And the more I dug, the more data I collected, the more worried I became. Because not only had Wintermute's original fear come to pass, that the world had become dependent on the electrical grid, a technology that would easily be taken offline should any Carrington-level geomagnetic event occur, but even worse, that the Carrington event of 1859 was like a tiny spark compared to the massive, overwhelming storm that might come in the future. I started to talk to others about this, but of course, people thought I was crazy. They ignored me at first, then started to denounce me, and then ostracize me. Until I eventually found myself so far on the fringes of accepted science that I was entirely isolated, with nobody to trust, nobody who would believe me. I lost my job, my marriage failed, all my academic credentials were thrown into question.
Ah, this explains something about your reputation, Dr. Atwood.
Nobody would believe me. Except for John, who you met as Jeremiah, Mr. Mackenzie. He was a young corporal in the Canadian military when I first met him. Handsome, as I recall. It's a long story on top of an already long story, so I won't tell it all here. But the important thing was he was stationed at a radar observation post along the dew line, far north, and started to observe some strange things of his own. He followed the trail, which eventually led him to me. Then when we got together, there were sparks, I tell you. To be believed by someone, it was like a drug. We worked to uncover more data, and he kept his eyes and ears open, using his military connections to gather more information carefully. And he moved up the ranks, but always stayed under the radar, putting his career aspirations aside to ensure he could stay close to the facilities we needed access to. But it was never going to last. At one point, he was caught accessing some classified data shared with our NATO allies, and they thought he was spying for the Russians, so they put him in military prison. And we lost touch. Years later, he actually found me here, at the radio telescope. He was a changed man. His fire was gone. They'd somehow broken him. He said he still believed, but he couldn't be part of this journey. And that's the last time I saw him. That was more than 20 years ago. I can't believe he's still alive. And on Great Bear, no less.
You can't possibly believe that's some kind of coincidence. Jeremiah being here.
What are you suggesting?
Isn't it obvious? He stayed here for you, to be close to you, to keep watch.
He's been here ever since, close by, in case you might need him. And as soon as he saw the aurora and what it could do, he knew. He saw the signs. When I met him, he was nearly killed by a bear, and when I left him, he was still not much more than half alive. Otherwise, I'm sure he would have come here himself. But he sent me to warn you. He made me promise. And he knew by then what that promise would mean.
He sent you in his place. And it's a good thing he did, because now we have the final piece. This is the answer we've been looking for all these years.
Do we finally have it?
I think we do, dear.
I'm not following.
All my research here, and Jace's since she joined me, has been to try to anticipate, to get ahead.
Ahead of what?
The next big Carrington-level event.
The thing Wintermute spent his life also searching for. And others, lesser scientists, industrialists, crackpots, even here on Great Bear. The island's unique geologic strata and northern latitude created a perfect test bed for geomagnetic research. Even a few decades ago, a German industrialist named Rudiger. But that's not important.
Dr. Atwood, do we know the terminus?
We do, my dear.
And when is it coming? Do we have time to prepare?
No, dear. It's already too late. It's already started.
What does that mean?
It means we're in a new geomagnetic normal. What you've seen so far is really just the beginning. Things will get much worse from here on out.
But how long will it last? Carrington was over in a few days, weeks at most.
Oh, this is much bigger than Carrington.
How long, Doctor?
I hesitate to say. With the data I have, I can only offer a vague range. 40 to 400.
Hours?
Days?
Years. Wintermute tried to warn us 150 years ago, but nobody listened. And now we're at the very beginning of a geomagnetic storm. A disaster of such proportion we've not seen its like in recorded history. The power grid is down. Everything humanity has built over the last 100 years or more, based on technology, electronics, everything based on the integrated circuit, electricity, it's gone. It's all gone. Nature is changing, and soon we'll begin to see the impact on people. We won't emerge unscathed. And this period of darkness will last from 40 to 400 years. A new dark age. The long dark. And what humanity will exist on the other side of it, I cannot even begin to guess.
Then I need to warn her. I need to get to Perseverance Mills.
You're talking about your ex-wife, the doctor?
Astrid will be there. And she needs what's in this hard case.
What's in the case, and what kind of doctor?
She's a researcher. Insomnia, memory loss, fugue states. I think she stole some experimental meds. She's trying to help a friend. A child that's suffering from some mysterious illness. I'm not sure.
Go to her. Regardless of what's in the case, you can bring her here. Her and anyone else you care about. We have to think about the survival of the species now.
But what can we possibly do here?
Oh, Jace, my silly girl. Have you forgotten what this facility is built on?
I just know it's some government thing.
Before it was repurposed for use with the radio telescope, this was an observation post for monitoring satellite communications. Mostly American, Russian, some Chinese, Cold War stuff.
But why here? Who would think we'd be spying from here?
Exactly. A few floors below us are the magnetically shielded dorms and storerooms designed for the folks who used to live and work here, back in the Cold War. The whole place is basically a big bunker.
Right. And the team that built the geothermal plant left various supplies behind.
Exactly. There's probably enough dry rations and assorted supplies there to feed dozens of people for a couple of years.
Survival of the species, huh?
I'm afraid so.
Then I better get to it.
長かったね。まあ、要約すると、やばいってことだね。うん。世界がやばいと。電子機器とかも全部なくなって原始時代に戻るみたいな、そういうことなのかな、その、オーロラによって。はい。ということで、今回はこの辺で終了にしたいと思います。ご視聴ありがとうございました。